Good evening and welcome to the April 27th council meeting. Members of the public were provided with the following methods to watch and or participate in this open meeting. Attend in person at the North Dumfries Community Complex. Attend electronically via Zoom to observe the meeting or to speak to an item on the agenda. Watch the live stream by accessing the meeting on the Township YouTube page. You can ask written comments. You can comments were given to the clerks and we provided them to council members and will form part of it. Before we begin, I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge and thank everyone for joining us this evening. We appreciate your participation. As we come together to serve the community, I ask that we create a welcoming and positive environment for everyone. That includes respect. That we listen to each other with care, speak thoughtfully, and engage kindly with one another. Kindness, that we treat everyone, council, the public and staff with respect and understanding. And that inclusion, that we embrace diverse perspectives and respect each other's opinions. Together we can make this meeting space one of respect, kindness, and inclusion and at the heart of everything that we do. Behavior that's disrespectful, disruptive, aggressive, or intimidating will result in those individuals being asked to leave. And over the years, I've been in a lot of council meetings and heard a lot of diverse opinions. Some I didn't agree with, and some changed my mind. So let's be open to the possibilities and listen to each other thoughtfully. I'd like to now call the meeting to order and have approval of the agenda, please, Councillor Austin. Use your microphone, please.
Moved by myself, second by Councillor Rowland, that council adopt the April 27, 2026 council meeting agenda as presented with the following addendum. 1. Add correspondence received for item 7.1, presentation from Jennifer Davis, Deputy Chief, Jared Brown, Inspector, and David Mullock, Manager. Government relations with Waterloo Regional Police Service regarding proposed rollout and implementation of a closed circuit television program. 2. Add correspondence received for item 11.2.1, report number BLE 04/2026, firearm discharge bylaw update. 3. Add correspondence received for item 11.2.6, report number PW 08/2026, request for tender for footbridge road rehabilitation, ND 2026-C5 RFT. And 4, add 3 pieces of correspondence received for item 11.2.7, report number CAO 12/2026. Discussion road safety on Wrigley Road, settlement area of Wrigley and broader Wrigley Road corridor.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. I would now like to do the Indigenous acknowledgement. We acknowledge the land on which we gather today as the traditional territory of Haudenosaunee, the Anishinaabe, and the Neutral people. We acknowledge the enduring presence of the Indigenous people with whom we share this land today, their achievements and their contributions to our community. We offer this acknowledgement as an act of reconciliation between Indigenous and non-Indigenous peoples of Canada. So what does reconciliation mean? When I met with Chief Ava Hill one time here, she told me what reconciliation was. The Air News had done an article about the first NHL hockey player that was from Indigenous, and they were from Air. And New York, was it the Rangers? New York Rangers sent up jerseys with Buddy Miracle's name on it. And we presented one of the shirts to Chief Hill at Central Rice. And she said that's what reconciliation is. They don't want to take anything from us. They just want to be acknowledged for what they've done, respected for what they value, and work alongside of us. And with that kind of attitude and respect, we can all make this a better country and a better place. Let's pause and reflect on that for a few minutes. Thank you. Is there any disclosure between your interested gentlemen to thereof? Seeing none. Adoption of the council minutes, please, Council Rowland.
Moved by myself, second by Council Tilley, that council approve the following meeting minutes 6.1, council meeting minutes dated April 13th, 2026.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. Next is the presentation, 7.1, Jennifer Davis, Deputy Chief, Gerald Brown, Inspector, and David Mullock, Manager, Government Relationship with Waterloo Regional Police Services regarding proposed rollout and implementation of a closed circuit television CCTV program. Welcome, Jen.
Thank you, Mayor Foxton and members of council. We're very excited to be here with you this evening. We are making our rounds, you probably are aware, with the different municipalities and townships. So thank you for having us here today. So we are here to brief you on our closed circuit television and automated license plate recognition program. And really it's a partnership that we are looking to engage in with the different municipalities and townships. As a bit of background, it was in 2020 when the Ministry of the Solicitor General first launched the CCTV grant. And this was part of the Ontario Guns, Gangs, and Violence Reduction Strategy. And the goal of the grant is really to strengthen community safety and to give law enforcement agencies the tools they need to keep Ontarians safe. It was in 2025 when the Waterloo Regional Police first applied for and received funding or was awarded funding under that grant, and when we began to establish our CCTV program. As you'll see from the slide here, the following Ontario municipalities currently have a police-led CCTV program partnership with their various cities and regions. As part of our strategy, building public trust and confidence in support of a CCTV program has been a top priority for us. We know sometimes there's trepidation about the use of technology, and we really want to make sure that we can get the understanding and buy-in from community for a program such as this. So we have committed to being completely transparent with all information about the program, and we will continue to do so by highlighting camera locations when we do establish them, by ensuring clear and visible signage at each of those locations so people know that there is cameras there, and by providing regular public reporting through our board, so on usage, on auditing, etc. of the program. Community consultation has been a part of ensuring transparency as well. It provides an avenue for community to learn and to ask questions about the program. We hosted a number of community consultation sessions in the fall of 2025, really providing residents with information on the program and also providing them an opportunity to ask questions or to raise concerns. We hosted 3 in-person sessions in each of the main municipalities, and we also did a region-wide virtual session as well at that time. Once the program's purpose, safeguards, and all measures were explained, feedback has generally been positive and supportive, with many asking why we have not already had this in our region. We have also met with numerous business owners, with our business associations as well, to share understanding of the program with them. So why CCTV and ALPR? There's really a number of reasons. It directly supports our crime suppression strategy. So that is our evidence-based strategy on how we are directing resources on where it's going to have the greatest impact in community. It has been known and proven to help decrease violent crime. It has also been known to help decrease social disorder incidents, often acting as overt deterrence. It does support frontline by helping to identify suspects, persons of interests, timelines of when offenses have been committed. It provides best evidence for court and supports successful convictions in court as well. It helps to improve investigative outcomes as it supports more timely investigations, quicker access to video instead of often door-to-door canvases that we're doing currently, and also access to objective evidence. It helps to increase public safety overall when used as an investigative tool. It has been seen to support measurable reductions in crime and allows for better coordination of resources for major incidents in real time. So a significant major incidents where we could use it in real time. North Dumfries is a unique township in the fact that you have a 401 running right through it. So it's uniquely situated with a concentration of manufacturing, transportation, and high-end commercial businesses. We have seen that it has been a target for organized crime, specifically around load thefts and high-end commercial thefts. In the last 5 years, we've seen exponential growth in a number of offenses that are happening. So not only occurrences that are happening in this area, but also the number of criminal violations that are happening in this area. I've added 3 different scenarios there of things that have happened where we've seen commercial property that's been stolen, transport trucks that have been stolen, as well as transport truck trailers that have been stolen. We've also seen an increase in mischief calls, assault calls, theft calls, and other property related offenses. So it does show the need for an additional investigative tool here to help solve some of these offenses, as often it does come down to video evidence obtained where we can connect some of these offenses as well. So we've talked a little bit about what CCTV is, but we also want to be clear on what it is not. And really that's the part I want to highlight here in this slide. So CCTV cameras are not speed enforcement cameras. They are not cameras that are live monitored except for under specific circumstances. So we have a major incident, like maybe an active shooter incident, or things like a planned incident, like Patrick's Day, we do use it there, where we can then monitor and actually determine what resources to be sending there in real time because we can see what's happening. They're not arbitrarily placed. It is all based on data. It's all evidence-based on where we determine the locations to be. And they are not something that is accessible by all members. There's a small group of individuals that are trained on how to use the CCTV technology, that are trained on how to then take that video evidence and provide it to the officers as part of their investigation. So it is not something that all members would have access to. What you see on the right is a sign that would look very similar, if not the same, as the signs that we would have posted where the CCTV cameras are. They just identify what our legal authority is for it. And then they would also have reference back to our website where you can get information on the cameras, but also on all of the locations across the region. So as I said, how we select cameras is really an evidence-based and data-driven approach. Based on the analysis, a location identified in North Dumfries is the area of Northumberland Street and Alps Road. We can't give you an exact spot because once it's decided, we would have a team go out to find out which actual street post is the most appropriate post to do that. And how we determine that, again, as I said, is based on 3 years of historical data. So we use our uniform crime reporting data, which is what's reported to Stop Canada. We refer to our citizen-generated calls for service. So that is the public calling in and reporting those calls. Areas of increased crime and disorder incidents, concerns that have been raised by community. So maybe raised to you and then you're raising it to our attention. And also some service-specific considerations that focus on high victimization rates, including firearms, break and enter, and robbery violations, as those are 3 priority goal crimes that we've been focusing on. So the proposed camera system is really made up of a combination of 3 different types of cameras. There are the pan, tilt, zoom cameras, the bullet cameras, and the multi-sensor cameras. Each of these cameras serves a different function. Pan, tilt, zoom cameras are deployed in areas identified with higher pedestrian traffic. So that might be one where we would see used in, say, Uptown Waterloo. Bullet style cameras are really used for ingress and egress routes. So would be the type of camera that we would likely see used in North Dumfries. They can collect ALPR data, so license plate data of vehicles that are traveling in those ingress and egress routes within the township. And then also the cameras can actually capture video footage as well. And then we also have a multi-sensor cameras, which are also equipped with ALPR. So it might be one set of 4 cameras that's located at an intersection. All of these cameras are mounted and powered using low voltage power, so about the equivalent of a 60-watt light bulb on existing infrastructure, so street posts that we have right now. So a bullet camera might cost about $23 a year in electricity, and the pan tilt zoom might cost, or multi-sensor might cost up to about $40, $45 a year to actually power. So very, very minimal cost to actually power those cameras. Through our research, we worked with the Privacy Commissioner and the Information and Privacy Commission to complete a privacy impact assessment. So we drafted an assessment, we shared the assessment with them, we asked for feedback, they provided feedback. We then made some alterations to the plan and then we completed that. So since it's been completed, we have actually shared our privacy impact assessment with the IPC so that they have it. All information gathered by WRPS will also be compliant with MFIPA, so the Municipal Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act. It is all for a law enforcement purpose. That is our authority to collect that information. We will be using a 30-day retention period for stored data at 30 days. It is automatically deleted from the device at that time. We have already completed a board policy and service procedures, which includes safeguards on limiting the number of users, as I mentioned earlier, on who accesses the system, but we also have the ability to audit access along the way. So we, just like we would with any other system that we have, so just CPEC, for instance. Again, data is stored using encrypted cloud-based solutions that are located here in Canada. And that is the end of my presentation, but happy to answer any questions that anyone might have.
Thank you so much. Councilor. Councilor Tillman.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Through you, just in regards to the 30-day storage of the, is that something that's continuous? If something was to come up 3 months down the road, is that something that, you know, that footage is no longer available, or it's something that could still be brought up later?
No, it'd be gone after 30 days. So there is the importance of trying to get it as timely as we could, but at 30 days, it would be automatically deleted from the system. And 30 days does seem to be the standards. When we looked into other things, 30-day retention period for government institutions, municipal cameras and public parks, downtown cores, school boards on school property, etc. 30 days is a common retention period for that.
Councilor Austin.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Move to Jennifer Davis. When will it be rolled out in North Dumfries? And do you have any suggested places you want to put these cameras, or?
Oh, sorry, through you, Mayor. Yes, so the first location in North Dumfries is that Northumberland and Alps area, so just down the road, basically. We would like to then likely see expansion at the on routes to the 401s. We are also working with the MTO on an MOU with the MTO so that we can access poles that are on the on ramps and off ramps. And then other locations will be determined, again, like I said, based on that 3 years of prior data. So that we can use an evidence-based approach to actually selecting those sites. If we were to look at the 10 original locations that were selected, what we tried to do is really pick a location to say if there was a municipality or township that wanted to partner with us, where could we support them? Where would be the best location in that spot? So obviously Northumberland is not the 10th highest area for crime in the region, but it is a location that is most appropriate for North Dumfries at this time.
Councilor Austin.
And just to respond to that, because I know we've had a lot of problems with a local transport trucking company and also Vincent's with the access to the fields at the back, which goes straight over to Greenfield Road, which goes straight over to Trustler, or they park on the 401, or, you know, it seems to be a lot of exit. I didn't know if maybe any of these businesses are willing, I don't know if they're willing, but getting CCTV out there so you can monitor traffic that comes in and around these areas. Again, I don't know if they requested it or if they're involved in this, but I know it's been an issue.
Thank you, Mayor. It's, as I mentioned, these aren't live monitored cameras. We don't have the capacity to actually live monitor all of these cameras, but what they do allow us to do is when an incident has occurred, they allow us to go back to collect evidence and other evidence to conduct an investigation, maybe identify suspects, time of day, vehicles used, individuals, etc. And that's really valuable for trying to proceed with the case and going to court. So that's kind of how they would be used, other than in situations that are like more imminent, like an emergency type situation where we would be able to use it in real time. What I can say is this is phase one of what we hope to be a much bigger project. We have basically a 10-year expansion plan that we would like. So we would like to see more cameras installed over the next number of years. But a phase two part of this camera is actually being able to have the technology to leverage existing camera feeds as well. So we have seen in some neighboring municipalities where they've had private businesses where police have been able to access those cameras for an investigative purpose after the fact. So there will hopefully be a future where we can consider accessing private cameras and or potentially river transit or things like that as well. So that's kind of a future phase.
And I believe that this location was picked based upon actual evidence of crimes within the area. And we know that in the last year, we're talking millions of dollars was taken from this township, from air. And that they're hurting our businesses. Insurance companies don't want to insure them anymore, or they're paying extremely high insurance costs. So there's a real demand to catch whoever's coming here and maybe deter them from coming here. Any other comments and questions, councilors? Can I have the motion, please, Council Williams?
Moved by myself, second by Councillor Osmer, that the presentation from Jennifer Davis, Deputy Chief, Sarah Brown, Inspector, and Dave Bullock, Manager of Government Relations with the Waterloo Regional Water Police Service, WRPS, regarding the proposed rollout and implementation of a closed circuit television CCTV program be received with thanks. And that staff prepare a report for the consideration of council on a potential CCTV program administered and delivered through the WRPS within the municipal boundaries of North Dumfries.
All those in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Thank you very much. You do not have to hang around. I know these meetings are riveting, but if you'd like to stay here, more than welcome, but you may also be. Another note also is talking to CAO McNeely. We have been guaranteed there will be no facial recognition. So there's no facial recognition, it's just the license plate. Next, we have Mo Salimoni, President of Actima. Sorry. Jennifer, I checked off the wrong date. Can I check the date? Jen German Wright. Jen German Wright. Capital campaign lead with the Cambridge North Dumfries Food Bank regarding a new building acquisition. Congratulations, it's an amazing facility.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm glad to be here. Thanks, Foxton. Thank you, council, for having me. Can you hear me okay? All right. Has anyone been on a tour of Cambridge Food Bank? I know a couple of you have. No. So my goal is to tell you a little bit more about what we do, because I think we're kind of the best kept secret in Cambridge, and we don't want to, in North Dumfries, and we don't want to keep it that way. We want to let everyone know what we do. I've been involved with the Cambridge Food Bank for probably about 15 years now, and I'm currently the capital campaign lead. So we are running a capital campaign now. As many of you know, we have outgrown our building Ainsley Street, and we purchased a new building on Franklin Street, on Franklin Boulevard in Cambridge. So it's a big undertaking, but we're really happy to be moving to a place we can serve our community better. I'm going to start a bit with the difference between Food Bank Waterloo Region and Cambridge Food Bank, because sometimes people hear about both of those entities and wonder, why do we need two food banks? What are they serving? So Food Bank Waterloo Region provides food to agencies in Waterloo Region and actually outside of the region, right up to Owen Sound, I know. And they serve agencies only, right? So they're providing food to agencies, and that's all they do. We also, at the Cambridge Food Bank, provide food to agencies in Cambridge, but we also, our magic is that we also provide emergency food to families, and we offer programs and support the whole person. So when they come to us, we're looking at that individual or family and deciding how can we help them. So we have programs set in place for that. As will come no surprise to you, I'm sure, the need for the food bank, and not just our food bank, this is internationally, I would say, or definitely nationally, has grown exponentially. So we can all relate to that. I think at the grocery store, when you're paying $100 and your grocery bag isn't even full, and so there's the price of groceries, price of fuel, rent prices, all of those things have impacted the community greatly. And our number in Waterloo Region is 1 in 8 families are food insecure. So that's pretty big. The demographic has shifted where we might have thought of a typical food bank customer being a homeless older guy, right? That might be the image that is conjured in your mind. Now our typical food bank members are people who work full-time, people who have homes, people who drive. They just don't have enough income to support themselves. And so the first thing that needs to be cut is food. So, so our emergency food, we call it our community pantry. So folks come in and they visit our front desk. So we have a database where we track visits. Folks are allowed to come once per month and they're getting about 5 days worth of food. So sometimes people have a misconception that people can come in often and are getting tons of food. So it's once per month, getting about 5 days worth of food. When folks come in, we are looking at that whole person, as I mentioned, and seeing where else can we assist this person, where can we support them, whether it's with our programs, other meal programs in the region. So we're always looking at how can we support this person, this family. Our programs that I mentioned are for children, adults, and seniors. And to qualify for our programs, you merely need to prove that you live in Cambridge or North Dumfries. So our youth programs are pretty amazing. We start with little ones like Books and Little Cooks. So we're working on literacy and cooking skills, basic knife skills, cooking skills with children. Think early intervention, providing more confidence in the kitchen. It's very impactful. We hear from parents a lot. You know, I didn't know where my kid was after school and they were making their own after school snack. So it just gives them, you know, we're hopefully trying to change the path of these little ones that hopefully they're not our customers in the future. We have teen mentorship programs that are really great, engaging our youth. So our programs are online and in person. At our new building, we will be able to create more interaction, bringing more people in person, but we'll still maintain that online aspect because it helps remove barriers. Not everyone can get to the food bank. We want to involve as many people as we can. So our youth programs are wonderful, actually are also in schools now, which is another way that we're removing barriers. We have our youth worker actually in schools, which is pretty amazing now. And everything that we do with our youth, we also have a peer worker that does with our adults and seniors. So she's passionate about teaching people the best way to eat, the most nutritious way to eat on the least amount of money. So she's very creative with her recipes. She meets everyone where they're at. She likes to say, I have no cooking, low cooking, and pro cooking. So she's amazing. I don't know if you've ever met her, but she's just a passionate person who's super knowledgeable, who's just amazing working with adults and seniors, reducing isolation. She has a great track record of helping people reduce medications, get off medication, better range of motion, just creating that interaction to engage our seniors, especially. Isolation can be a real issue with our seniors, and it's a great way to bring people together. We also will maintain that hybrid of in-person and online, and with a larger community room and classroom, we'll be able to engage even more families. Our commercial kitchen, lots of magic happens here, and we can't wait to probably triple the size of it in our new building. So we rescue, in this tiny little kitchen that we have now, we rescue over 300,000 pounds of food every year that would be destined to the landfill. So we have a passion about zero food waste. So my favorite analogy is we get in a skid of cucumbers and the ends are mushy. So previously that would all go to the landfill. We would just dump it because we're not going to give mushy produce to our members. So now what happens is those ends get cut off, the mushy ends get cut off. They go to our animal partner friends in the area. So we are friends with local pig farmers, animal farmers. So we feed their animals. Once a year, they donate meat back to the food bank. So we've got that full circle relationship locally. The middle of that cucumber that's still good goes to our kitchen, sliced, diced, baked, stews, loaves, whatever. So we're cooking with that, and that food goes right into the community pantry often. So into our emergency food. So folks who are coming in to get their emergency food, which they choose because we have a shopping model, they also might have the choice to get a homemade soup or fresh banana bread or whatever as well. So it's a nice element. So we're looking forward greatly to expanding our commercial kitchen. We also have gardens that you might not be aware of, and in our new building, we will also be having a greenhouse because fresh food is something that we're very passionate about and really important to us. The most nutritious food to the people who need it the most. That brings me to the mobile food market. Tell me that you've heard of the mobile food market. Oh, okay.
I've been there.
All right, okay. So I believe we're at Knox Church, and is that Thursday?
I thought it was.
Okay, I could be wrong. But we are, yeah. So every week, so our mobile food market is a mobile food market. It's in our Sprinter van that we have, and we go to 15+ neighborhoods in Cambridge and North Dumfries every week. So we're at the same place at the same time every week. That Knox Church for an hour every week. The only thing that changes is what we're providing that week. It's always purchased separately. So this is not donated food. We are purchasing from local farmers during the growing season. So we are going to local farmers, giving them a cash influx at the beginning of their growing season. Then they're donating that amount back to the, or they're selling that amount back to the food bank, and then also donating that amount back to the food bank. So doubling that up. So it's a win-win. We're supporting them with cash at the beginning of their season when they need it, and they're supporting us with extra produce as well. So that fresh organic produce is going out into neighborhoods for people who may or may not be able to get to the food bank. And also with seniors, a lot of them will go to the mobile food market and be happy about it, but they wouldn't come to the food bank. They're just like, oh, I would never do that, but they are in need, and this really helps them have access to fresh produce. It operates on a sliding scale, so it's no questions asked. You can come up and pay a subsidized rate of $5, or if you have the means, then you might pay $10, $15, $20. You're still getting it cheaper than the grocery store.
2 minutes that too.
Okay. So the MFM is a very important element of what we do to reach the community. So if I'm coming into why I'm actually here, but I feel like I am actually here to spread the word about what we do, because it's important that people know we do serve North Dumfries as well. My ask would be, number one, our goal is $10 million. But the good news is we're over 70% there. So we have 2.5 million to go. And my ask tonight would be that you might consider either whether it's a donation of $5,000 toward that, or another option might be that you would consider hosting an event for us and supporting an event for us, maybe in the McNeil room here, some sort of event, a fundraiser that we could work with you on, partner with you on, and that would help us maybe connect with some of the folks in North Dumfries that we might not normally be able to connect with.
Any questions, councillors? Councillor Rose.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Through you. Can you also connect with Langs, because they all do a lot of work here in the community center as well?
Yes, and yes, we do. We work with Lanes very closely. They're also a site for our mobile food market. Yeah, we cooperate with each other also.
Seeing no more, so I can ask you, you may want to look into getting a grant in the township, and those applications come out in the fall. And you can apply for funds.
Great.
You can talk with, maybe touch base with Kelly to see if you guys can come up brainstorm about some event that we can host here. Or maybe to Kelly working with one of our groups, the Lions or the Kings Qualis groups, to see if we can do something with them. Okay, so if there's no other questions, can I have the motion, please, Councillor Tully? You do a great job, Jen, and I love the new facilities. And anybody in the audience that wishes to donate, a one-time donation, or do monthly is what I do. I donate monthly, so.
Thank you.
Motion passes.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Wells. We thank the delegation from Jen Sherman Wright, capital campaign lead with the Cambridge and North Dumfries Food Bank regarding a new building acquisition. You received a thanks.
All those in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Yeah, as I said to the fleet, you may need to feel like you don't have to stay, but this is with an event.
Thank you.
Very much. Good job. Now is 8.2, which is Lois Simone, president of the Tina Group regarding Snap Club Homes and North Skills Trade Academy. Is he here?
He's online, so I'm just trying to promote him to a panelist. He's joining us.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you can't ever hear us, just raise your hand and flag us and that'll teach us to talk louder. You heard me though, right? So I'm loud.
Yes.
You would be the first one to agree with that statement.
He has joined us, he just hasn't turned on his camera, so you don't see him.
No, would you like to start your presentation? Start to speak? I'm gonna leave you to work on that and we'll move on to the consent agenda. So request for items to be left from the consent agenda, councilors? Seeing none, can I have the motion?
Hello,
Oh, there's no. Go ahead, Mo. Go ahead.
uh, my name is Mo Salmani. I'm a developer and builder, roughly around 44 years in construction industry, A to Z. And I have North Skills Trade Academy. That's we teach youth, ladies, indigenous. Our program is around 30% of the theoretical and 70% hands-on to make business for the youth, ladies, indigenous, and everyone. And also, because of my construction part, we have a consortium of the companies that we do from engineering, permit, and turnkey under one umbrella. And this group of business, there is partnership of the sister companies. We have from concrete company, kitchen cabinet manufacturing, door and window manufacturing, and steel shop and paint shop, all of them under one umbrella. We manage them. It's my hobby. It's my that's what's it that experiences around 44 years in this business that uh, I grew up with the construction business all of my life. And the things that according to demand of the Ontario in these days after Premier Dykeforth told we need 1.5 million houses, I started to do these prefabricated modular homes. Actually, for construction business, I started here from 2002. And from 2021, we started to make so many garden suite, laneway suite in Toronto, one story or two story. And from last November 2024, I think that they started all Ontario. For all of these matters, I have so many ability. For example, if there is any space over there to establish another plant and to have another educational plant over there to teach youth, ladies, indigenous, and make business for them and make affordable housing for them. And our plan is, for example, when youth or anyone, I say always as a kids that they're learning this job, if they make everything on the job site, I give them to municipality as a donation that they can use for shelter, for homelessness, and another thing that is in my program that I have done in last 44 years is commercial, industrial, and senior homes. If you need anything in all of these matters, I'm here with my crew, my group. I have 10-acre property in King Township that I make all of this housing and manufacturing. My office is at the corner of the North York and Woodbridge and Brampton and Etobicoke, Steeles and Islington area. I have all of this facility that help society and Ontario. How can I help you for all of them?
So thank you. Any questions, councillors? Seeing none, can I have the motion, please, Councillor Upton?
Moved by myself, second by Councillor Tilly, that delegation from Mosul Miami, president of Atina Group, regarding the SNAP homes and North Skills Trade Academy be received with thanks.
All those in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Thank you all. Have a
Thank
good
you.
night. Now we're back to the consent agenda, or was there any items anyone wished to call? Seeing none, can I have the motion, please, Councillor Tilly?
Moved by myself, second by Councilor Roman, that the following information items as listed on the April 27, 2026 consent agenda be received. 10.2.1 communication correspondence. A, correspondence received from Municipal Engineers Association regarding comments to provincial plan to harmonize Ontario provincial standards OPS. B, correspondence received from Tom Strickland on behalf of Cycle WR. C, resolution received from the Region of Waterloo regarding a request to amend Bill C9. D, resolution received from the Township of Woolwich regarding school board trustees. E, correspondence received from the Waterloo Region Health Network, WRHN, and Cambridge Memorial Hospital regarding Waterloo Regional Council Motion RE Hospital Capital Infrastructure Projects Local Share Plan. F, resolution received from Fort Francis regarding accessible roadside rest areas, washrooms. 10.2.2 advisory committees, Heritage Advisory Committee meeting minutes dated February 17th, 2026.
All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Next is the report 11.2.1, report number BLE 04/2026 firearm discharge bylaw update. Questions from the public? If you'd like to come and speak on this issue, please come give your name and stand at the mic, please. Seeing none, questions from council?
Sorry,
Yes.
which item are we on now?
Firearms.
Sorry,
Firearms.
did we do the advisory?
Yes, we just did.
Yes, that was in consent agenda.
Councillor Austin.
Thank you. Considering the amount of questions we had about the firearm discharge bylaw, should we be looking at that again, or? We've had a lot of,
So there was a lot of questions and there was changes in the bylaw to answer a lot of those questions, so it's been revised. So, it's being looked at again because it's revised, we haven't passed the revision. The revision was in our agenda package. Is there any questions on the revisions? Comments, councillors? Councillor Tilly.
To you, Madam Mayor, to the
Bylaw.
bylaw.
Justin?
Justin, just wanted to see if, based on the current questions being asked, they're being asked in even this week, and I'm sure would now have an effect. Has there been any acknowledgement or any change with new policy or new what the bylaw would look like now? Or is this something because if there's anything that's been adjusted in your mind or will be adjusted, I'm asking that because there's several points I'd like to bring up. I'm just wondering if there's anything that you've already changed that we don't have to discuss.
So through you, Madam Mayor, to Councillor Tilly, there were 11 comments that we received back. 2 of those were from the same person who does not live in North Dumfries. 9 of them were from North Dumfries. 7 of them were from North Dumfries residents. 2 of them were from external user groups. 2 of the changes that we did make to the draft bylaw that we're bringing to you now is under, sorry, gotta get the glasses on. Under section 4.1, rather than highlighting all settlement areas, we removed that section and added the section to have the settlement areas known as Clyde, Branchton, Roseville, and Ayr as areas that the firearms bylaw would affect mostly. And then also under section 5 C, we changed the distance for the roadway allowances to more align with the provincial regulations in the for the hunting. So we reduced it from the 30 meters that we had in the first draft bylaw down to match the provincial distance of 8 meters. And that's what we changed out of the previous bylaw from the comments that we received.
See, that's a Wells.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. One of the things that I noticed in the updated draft that I'm concerned about is we're treating bows as the same thing as firearms. And of particular note was the constituent who was safely had an archery, was practicing her archery sport in her backyard, had done so safely and was now concerned she would no longer be able to do so. And I'm thinking we might want to, I would like to see some more nuance in this bylaw with regards to bows in particular, because they're not, there's a different speed, there's a different things operating here. And I'd also like to see more nuance with regards to lot sizes. So obviously, if your lot size is inadequate, you should not be using something like bows. I'll just keep using that as an example. But if you have an adequate lot size and you have a safe backdrop and you are operating things safely, then you should be able to continue your sport. Archery is a very common and ancient sport, and I don't want to just see everybody just suddenly feel like we can't accommodate a safe practice.
Yeah, you have a point. A relative, a distant relative, is a hunter, and he takes down moose with his bow. So I guess we need to classify the type of bow, but also there's not a lot of properties within these areas, and I think that's why they were put there. I don't think hardly any of them would. Well, some would have an acre to do with septics and that, but that would be the largest size for the septics and such like that. Councillor Tilly.
Thank you. Just to add on to what Councilor Holmes just mentioned. So a lot of target ranges. I'm an avid shooter in all arts, be it bow, pellet, or actual rifle or shotgun. And a 50-meter shooting range is more than sufficient. It's obviously smaller. So if you're looking at a 25-meter shooting range, which is what I think is similar to the lady that was mentioning that she had something set up, you'd have to do a lot to make sure that you're being safe. But that is enough range. So in an acre lot, like you mentioned, as long as they have something to that distance and they've set it up appropriately, then there would be that. There's absolutely, I mean, you can definitely do damage with a nail gun. You can definitely do damage with a lot of different things that have the potential to fire things at high rate of speed. One of the comments that I had heard, so that's just something in regards, and that's something I would like to see go back to bylaw and just as a potential opportunity that is there, instead of saying no, is there a minimum requirement that could be set up to be stated that would be allowed to be used for just the enjoyment of the sport. It's a sport that a lot of people take seriously. I belong to a sportsman club as well that has archery ranges, and they're not that big. Like, I mean, it doesn't take much space to set up a target and to be able to shoot at it. So my question or my request from to go back to staff to bylaw is to see if there's something where there's a safe area that would have a minimum property size where it could work in the communities that are mentioned that's currently saying that no firearms. There's one thing again as a avid hunter that was mentioned in, and it's accurate, is through Madam Mayor to and I didn't see it there, was the word weapon removed from the bylaw, because a weapon is what's used in crime. It's a firearm, be it any different types, is be it a smaller caliber, something like a pellet gun, be it a bow, be it an actual gun. Those are firearms. They're not weapons. So firearms are used if somebody's going to do something violent. So I personally, I like that stricken from that if that's possible, because I just don't see it as appropriate word verbiage. It's just again something that we don't want. Anybody who's a legal abiding owner does not want to see that kind of word used, because it has a negative connotation towards something that is completely legal. So that's something I have. Another thing is pellet guns, anything under 500 feet per second are not deemed a firearm by law. They're something that can be sold at the fire without a license. You just have to be a minimum wage age based on their principles. But a pellet gun, anything under 500 feet per second, is not something that should be deemed a firearm in my mind. And if the rest of council agrees, that is something that could be used again safely for what they call plinking or target practice in somebody's backyard with a sufficient amount of space in your property. You only need maybe 20-30 feet to do it safely. You couldn't physically damage anything in that distance. And again, used improperly, any of these things could be dangerous. Anything shot across where it should not be. And that's why if we could set a standard where they could be, people could be allowed to use it if they treat it properly. Sorry, that was a bit of a long run there. Thank you.
Councilwoman.
Madam Mayor, the concern I have is discussion about nuances and lot sizes. It seems like we have a bit of a rural urban split going on here. You know, I grew up on a farm, having a shotgun, having a pellet gun, whatever, that's normal. But in the built up areas such as in Ayr, probably parts of Roseville, maybe parts of Brampton or Clyde,
Brownsville.
maybe Browns, I don't know, Browns pretty low, is there in Brown? But concern I have is in built up areas, do we want to have people trying to figure out if their lot size is sufficient to set up a target area? I would rather err on the side of caution and just identify these 4 settlement areas and say, you can't have it in Roseville, Clyde, Brampton, or Ayr. And then discussion would be in the more rural areas. I think it's totally appropriate. I'm just concerned because we have had complaints on, you know, Hilltop Drive or Minson Drive, people using pellet guns, BB guns in the backyard. And we kind of want to try to avoid that. So how do we move forward in a way that's going to make sense to the public and not cause confusion? I'm concerned that discussions about nuances and lot size measurements is going to lead to confusion for the public. That's my only concern. So I want to make it very clear to the public, as opposed to having them call bylaws, say, can you come up and measure my property size? I don't want to get into all that sort of thing. So I think it's, if we're clear on it, everyone understands the rules, and in the rural areas, I think it's more than appropriate in rural areas, but not in the built up areas.
Councilor Jones.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor. So I hear what Councilwoman is saying, and I don't totally disagree, but I do want to note that we do have a draft chicken bylaw where we are asking people to measure their backyards to see whether or not they can have 4 or 5 chickens. And so we already are setting a precedent where such a thing is possible. So maybe that is something we need to consider. I agree with what Councillor Tilley was announcing here. I really think that there is a difference between the different types of firearms and velocity and blows, and I'm not convinced that our current bylaw, though it's nice to have it very simple. It is very nice to have something simple, and I really appreciate that the 22 degrees north or whatever was removed. That's fantastic. I do think we need to have a little bit more nuance here, particularly for people with the property size and who wish to just practice the sport, and who are handling things safely.
Any other questions? Councilor Tilley.
So just in response to Councilor Roman's comment, I totally agree. Like my property size is too small to house any sort of shooting of any type. And so I I have to omit myself from this situation. So I had to go elsewhere to do that. But there are lots that have 100 meters of length, even branched, and where they actually could easily set up something safely. And so that's again, going back to what Councilor Lawrence has mentioned. If there was such a spacing and there was allowance, that's where it would be. If you could imagine, just to give you a bit of a perspective here, Councilor Roman and anybody else who might be thinking the same thing. To say that you couldn't do something of a sport that you know that you do safely and do well, but you can't do it like play baseball in your backyard because somebody might get a ball across their fence. That's kids playing with something or doing something. Obviously, we keep something contained. But if you're gonna do it safely, you know that nothing is going to land outside of it. You're making very, very careful choices to make sure it doesn't happen. That's what I'm talking about. And that's what other sports people are concerned about, is that they're losing their opportunity to do that. And they just don't want to see that opportunity lost because they own their property and they just want to use it fairly, use it safely. So I know it does cause more, and I totally appreciate what you're saying, Councilor Roman, about keeping it simple so that these areas are just easier to link, or to set aside as, okay, we don't do it there. But I do believe even in these urban areas, that there's areas that can be safely done in. Obviously not done in the park, where there's no safety aspect there. It's a public space, you can't do that. But down in areas where in people's properties where there is a space to do that. So that's what I'm asking for from council, is that we change that to allow certain area sizes where it's allowable to do that based on, and again, I'm not even trying to stipulate a size, something that's reasonable that staff can tell us this is what they feel would be reasonable. So that's my request.
Justin, would you like to say, Councilor Austin?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I grew up in the country, and I shot everything from a pellet gun to a 22 to a 222 to a double barrel shotgun. I shot for a long time. A pellet gun, you can kill an animal with a pellet gun. You can kill a bird with a pellet gun. You can kill a rodent with a pellet gun. So they're dangerous as well. And if you don't kill somebody, you can definitely, you'll shoot your eye out type thing. So like they're dangerous. But that being said, the danger is in the finger, not the weapon. It's the operator. It's not the gun. So I think that like I used to hunt all the time out in the country. I wouldn't dream of doing it, even though I have 2.5 acres on the river. I wouldn't do it in town, not because I don't care about my enjoyment. I care about my neighbors. I care about their safety. I care about their worries. And I don't want them to be worried that something's going to ricochet off a rock or tree or something and hit their animal or hit their kids or whatever. But that being said, if there is a need and a want for us to look at something out in the rural areas, I agree, Ward 1, Ward 2, down, in Ward 3 in Roseville. I wouldn't want somebody walking around hillside in the backyard. Like you're just waiting for someone to get hurt. And all it takes is one person to get hurt, and this whole bylaw thing is cut down in steel and just a hard no. So unfortunately it's the law-abiding citizens that are the innocent ones, and it's the ones that start fooling around and do stupid things is where we get to this issue. Again, if there was a safe way to do it out in the rural areas that are kind of borderline versus the heavily dense areas, I would not object to it, but it would have to come under scrutiny of our bylaw, of our staff, and the neighbors would have to say, I've got no problem. If you could create a monster like that, great.
Councillor Roman.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So I agree with what Councilor Ross was saying, and I think our bylaw, the way it's been written, basically expresses the same point that Councilor Ross raised, that in the built-up areas, there's no firearm, but in the rural areas, there can be. So I think it sounds like we're in agreement that this bylaw, the way that the bylaw department has written it up, makes sense.
Councillor Rose.
I just want a clarification from Councillor Osmer then. Would you put bows in the same category? Thank you.
And can you kill somebody with a bow or a gun?
I'm really thinking about the constituent who has our archery sport, who is safe, or neighbors are safe. And now we're gonna say, I'm sorry, you can no longer do that there, go find somewhere else. It feels kind of. I don't know, a little bit heavy-handed.
Councillor Osmer.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So as I said before, if we had in our bylaw a certain restriction on a certain size property, and if she was able to safely set that up and to the satisfactory and of bylaw, then by all means, but don't ever say that a bow is not a weapon. A gun is a weapon. A knife is a weapon. You use the wrong way, it's a weapon.
Councillor Rose, and then Councillor Tilly.
I think from what I understand, Councillor Osner, is you do see that there might be opportunities for nuance here when it comes to sizes.
Councillor Tilly.
Sorry, through Madam Mayor to Councilor Hausner. So you're referring to places like Branston and places that do have larger lots. So that's where the places you are speaking of. Okay, thank you. I don't think you actually mentioned, because that kind of
Well, I don't
contradicts.
know every subdivision, so I can't comment.
No, it just contradicts what Councilor Roland had said, where he's saying the current bylaw is sufficient. So that's why I just wanted to clarify that. Thank you.
Councillor Roman.
Madam Mayor, so I guess the question I have then is there a process that we can incorporate into this bylaw that would allow someone to apply for a permit within one of these regulated areas to have a shooting range or something set up? Is there something we can add to this? Some sort of special provision where if you have a certain lot size and you have certain proficiency or certain credentials, perhaps then you can set up a archery range or something of that nature. I would still say we prohibit a gun range in the built-up areas, but perhaps some permit system we can set up or incorporate into this.
I think, Justin, sorry, life is never easy, that we're asking for a little more depth. I would like to know the types of bows that would be allowed in a certain area and the type that bow would bring, like my niece's husband's heavy duty bow should not ever be used in an area like that. Justin, go ahead, Justin.
Madam Mayor, I understand what council is saying. My question is liability. If we issue a permit as a council, as a township, to allow somebody to shoot a bow, crossbow, curved bow, recurve, compound bow, do we say you can only shoot a field point? For those of us who know what field points are you allowed to use a broadhead in your backyard, which is a system of razor blades that you put on the end of your bow for killing an animal? And as an avid hunter myself, I know that in order to practice hunting, you need to shoot what you're shooting when you're hunting, which is a broadhead. If we then go out, I am not a firearms expert by any chance. I am not a bow expert by any chance. If we go out to somebody's property and say, yeah, it looks good enough, you can shoot your bow here, do we have to then put a restriction on the size of your broadhead, the size of your field point, It can only be 100 grains. It can be 150 grains. You can only shoot a crossbow that averages 395 feet per second, but anything else is prohibited. There are all these different nuances, if you want to say that word, that come with these types of weapons, these types of guns. The whole relook at the bylaw came out of complaints that we have received at our department for people using BB guns in air that have shot out people's fences, people's windows. If I look back to when I was growing up, my brother's pickup truck was shot at by a BB gun and the back window was blown out. That's a BB gun you can buy at Canadian Tire that shoots a BB at 495 feet per second. That's the way I drafted the bylaw, to not harm hunters in any way, shape, or form. That it is within the built-up subdivisions, and not penalizing people that have the acreage to go out and actually hunt. I was out on Sunday in North Dumfries hunting on 200 acres. I felt safe.
And I have the motion, please, Councillor Mills, correct? Yes.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Tilly, that BLE report number 01-2025 be received. And that council enact bylaw number 3638-26, being a bylaw to regulate the discharge of firearms within the Township of North Dumfries, and to repeal bylaw 783 be enacted. And that upon the execution of this bylaw, staff are to undertake the necessary steps to initiate a public awareness campaign, and that staff submit to the province a set fine application.
All those in favor? Opposed? It's carried. Next is report 11.2.2, report number FIN 07-2026, for the tax rate bylaw. Anyone have any questions or comments in the tax rate bylaw besides none of us on taxes? Seeing none, questions from council? Seeing none, can I have the motion, please, Councillor Owen?
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Tilly, that FIN report 07-2026 be received, and that council adopt bylaw number 3637-26, being a bylaw to adopt the 2026 tax rates bylaw, which includes the Township of North Dumfries official tax rate for general and special area levy, regional water tax rates, and the Province of Ontario school board tax rates be enacted.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. Next, we have report number of Recreation 04-2026 in the Canada Celebration 2026 Calendar Park. Any questions from the public? Questions from council? Can I have the motion, please, Councillor Wells?
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Osmer, that rec report number 04-2026 be received, and that council designate the Canada Day celebrations at Cowan Park as a special event to align with the applicable provisions of bylaw number 3615-26. Mobile food vendors, Schedule B, Section 4, to ensure that the food vendors are invited by the township and that the fee for the daily license be waived. And that council provide an exemption as per Schedule B of bylaw 3615-26 to allow for the mobile food vendors to close out operations no later than 10 o'clock p.m. and to accommodate up to a maximum of 6 invited mobile food vendors to support the Canada Day celebrations in Cowan Park.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. Next, we have report number Recreation 07-2026, Calgary Air Church Soapbox Derby, temporary road closure, English Street. Any questions from the public? Come on, you guys want to ride a soapbox, I read it. Questions from council? Can I have the motion, please, Councillor Tilly?
Moved by myself, second by Councillor Williams, that rec report number 07-2026 be received, and that bylaw number 3636-26 being a bylaw that temporary close English Street from Northumberland Street to Elliott Street to accommodate the Calvary Air Church Soapbox Derby on Saturday, May 30th, 2026 for the hours of 8 AM to 1 PM be enacted.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. Next is report number Rec 808-2026, application to the enhanced access to spaces for everyone, in brackets EASE, grant for accessible garden beds located at the community gardens at North Dumfries Community Complex. Any questions? Public first. Councilors. Motion, please, Councilor Rowland.
Moved by myself, so by Council Tilly, that report number 08-2026 be received. And that council authorized staff to prepare and submit a grant application to the Ministry of Seniors and Accessibility, Enhancing Access to Spaces for Everyone, EASE grant program, for up to $54,700 in funding to support access and accessibility of North Dumfries Community Garden Plot comprised of 8 accessible garden beds, accessible picnic tables, water tank, and barrier-free paths to travel to each of these features and to the water storage.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. Next is 11.2.6, report number PW 08-2026, request for tender award for the footbridge bridge rehabilitation. Matthew Wilson would like to speak. Matthew.
Madam Mayor, CEO, thank you, and council, thank you. It's my understanding that looks like the bridge will be closed. I don't know if this is true. Is the bridge scheduled to be closed?
CEO McNeely.
Madam Mayor, council in the present form awards the contract, then yes, the bridge would be closed as part of the nature of the construction.
Okay, and so do we know when the bridge will be closed and until when the bridge will be closed?
CEO McNeely.
So, Madam Mayor, we have not yet onboarded the contractor because the tender itself hasn't been issued. However, the consultant said if we started in the month of May, we should be finished in September in terms of the construction season. As we've indicated in the report, once we have onboarded a contractor, in this case, the recommended bidder is KB Civil. We would see whether or not there's opportunities to different portions of the construction window to either compress tasks or extend work days or whatever they like to shorten the actual period of construction with the intent, obviously, of having a few days with the closure as practical.
So everything that we spoke about looking into see if we can get this done at nights or weekends, has this been explored to its fullest? I ask because this is going to be detrimental to my business. Our business is a family business. It's about that far away from being a family member. This is going to affect my family. This is going to affect my business, and this is going to affect our community. We do pay about $44,000 per year to this municipality for our roads and our bridges. I'm paying for a service. I'm not being serviced with the service that I'm paying for. I paid enough money to replace the bridge 3 times over. And I would either like my money back or I would like to have a bridge. I need to run my business. I think this is unfair. I think that I was excluded. I think it's unfortunately unfair for the people that live in that area because it's going to put a tremendous amount of road traffic on city streets. And I feel as though I'm being bullied. I don't have any other choice. We've been here for over 70 years and there's no consideration when it comes down to closing the bridge. Of course, the bridge has to be replaced. I know that more than anyone. I don't want to sell the business. I want to stay here. I want to contribute to this community. But if I'm not going to be treated fairly when I'm paying for a service to have the roads and the bridge opened, then what's going to be next? Is there there could be something else? Close the road. And that's not, I don't deserve this. I don't want to sell the business, but if I were to sell the business, there'll be a lot more trucks going down the road than when our operation. We run a small family company, and this is going to hurt us very hard, very soon. Is there any other option to allow my business to stay open and not suffer such a significant loss monetarily, when once again, I have paid for this bridge 3 times over?
If you read the report, staff looked into every option. And with conversation also with the ministry, and it was not possible. We would not get a permit to do it, and we'd have to close the bridge permanently. So the option is we close it for the 3 months, or we close it permanently. Those
Right.
are our only options.
But
And
what
that's
about the
what's
money
done.
that I've been paying?
That's, you know what? Damage from that bridge has been done by a lot of vehicles and a lot of aggregate trucks. We had a road study done. The road study said 1 double axle gravel truck, aggregate truck, is equivalent to 12,000 cars. That report's available in the township. So a lot of damage. Yes, you've paid a lot. And we've paid a lot over those years to maintain that bridge. And we've gotten to this point. And if we want to continue to have that bridge open, we have to do that. It's not a choice. We don't want to do this.
No, I
It's
realize.
costing us hefty
No,
money,
I realize it,
and we
I'm
have no choice.
I'm
We
not
have no
trying to
choice.
create more
And I
problems.
understand totally. That's
We all
why
have better things to do, including myself.
we went to bat. We talked to the ministry this week. And we went to bat and we talked about the different scenarios and different things. We have done everything we can, and the only 2 options open to us is close the bridge and do it right, or close it permanently.
I
Those
do
are our
I
only
do
options.
understand, but I have to be a good businessman and come and explain myself. This is gonna affect me. And I'm pissed, you know, I pay for something. I don't care. Build me another bridge, put one beside it. I don't care. I pay for something, I should be getting it. And I do want my money. I'm paying for something, or I should stop paying.
Thank you very much. Any other questions or comments, Council? Anyone from public wish to speak? Councilors? Councilor Rose.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And this is a question through you to staff. I notice sometimes with bridge repairs, we kind of like, and I'm thinking this is the Roseville Bridge. You know, it's been closed for almost a year now. And you don't often see a lot of activity on it, even though it is impacting the businesses in that area as well. And farmers have to like drive way around in order to access their own fields. It's a nightmare. And is there anything that we can do to make sure that we do expedite this? And so like, because this is a really key bridge, it's not just for you, but it's for a lot of people. It's a very, very key bridge. It's the only bridge that connects Ward 4 to the rest of North Dumfries. Is there any way we can make sure that this is expedited and we're not like leaving, closing the bridge and then it sits there for a couple of weeks? Because I don't know, but just to make sure we do our best. And I think that's a question for you to staff. Thank you.
Just one quick note, it's not the only bridge that connects Ward 4 to North Dumfries, because we also have the bridges that go to Cambridge, that Atlantis. CEO McNeely?
So, Madam Mayor, as you can appreciate, any business operator, they fix themselves down to a price to undertake the work. So if they artificially extend their time, then they're actually losing money because they've worked on a schedule of so many days based on the scope of work and the nature of the tasks. The biggest fundamental of why the road is being closed has to largely do with the nature of the construction. Bridge rehabilitation projects have varying scopes of work. In this case, one of the key aspects is the bearings themselves are shot. We physically, not us, the contractor has to physically jack the bridge up off of the piers to put new bearings and then lower the bridge back down, okay? The cost of putting in extra jacking to handle live weight is going to be substantive. It effectively requires us to redraw the drawings and go back out into the marketplace because everyone bid based on a certain understanding that there'd be no live weight on that bridge.
trucks, just by their nature, have the extra weight structure versus a vehicle. So the order of magnitude would even be greater. We can compress the construction timeline a shorter period of time by physically closing the bridge and putting a certain focus on the construction as designed. As we mentioned in the report, we mentioned in the prior report, some 2 weeks ago. So we have a contractor, we can look at where can they pick up some efficiencies by perhaps extended hours during certain phases of the construction schedule. Some of that could be the continuous pour of the new concrete elements rather than doing them in segments. That is an example of where potentially days can be reduced in the overall construction window. You have a project that's ready to go. You've got all your permits in place from the Ministry of Transportation, Department of Fisheries and Oceans, by Grand River Conservation Authority. If we change the scope of work and even keep one lane open, let's just pretend it would all be eastbound traffic. You're still gonna have detouring, albeit it would be one way of a two-way typical. Right? If I'm looking at a commuter or Mr. Wilson in terms of load and haul back and forth between the pit and the marketplace. But the cost to do it is more inefficient because we're actually going to lengthen the construction window. We will miss this construction season. And generally, given the nature of the construction, you would work on one lane, do whatever the restorative work is, move the traffic over to the restored lane, and then repeat on the next lane the entire process. Our engineering firm has identified that we'd actually spill into a second construction season, just given there are certain types of the work that cannot be done once the temperature drops below a certain gradient. Okay, so you are magnifying extensively the cost of the project, but you're actually prolonging the window of the inconvenience in terms of detour, albeit potentially one of the two ways of a trip. This is the most efficient. It is not uncommon to close bridges on this type of scale. This is not a cosmetic nature. This is to extend the life of the bridge for the next 30 years. It is a major capital undertaking.
Any other questions, council? Seeing none, can I have the motion, please, Councillor Lawson?
So that concludes that. However, that doesn't do anything
The
for my
motion, please,
business.
Councillor Lawson? Yes, he's up, yes.
Councillors, thank you. Thanks for listening to me.
Well, myself, second Councilor Wilms, that PW report number 08-2026 be received, and that council approves the award of contract ND 2026 C5 RFT for the Footbridge Road Bridge Rehabilitation Project in the amount of $1,498,314.07, plus HST to KB Civil Constructors Inc., and that a project contingency of $600,000 net HST be established, and that a budget of $222,345.60 net HST be included for professional administration and related professional services. And that the mayor and clerk be authorized to execute any necessary documents to facilitate the completion of this project.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. Next, we have report number 11.2.7, the CAO 12/2026 discussion, road safety on Wrigley Road settlement area on Wrigley area of Wrigley and broader Wrigley Road corridors. I'm sure I have speakers on this. When you come, please give your name at the mic. Put your hand up first if you want to do that. Oh my gosh, you're the quietest group I've ever seen. Did anybody put their hand up? Okay. Welcome. Let's give your name, please. Thank you.
Can you hear me? We couldn't hear you at all.
Really? Wow.
My name's Elkhart. I'm here on 1426 Wrigley. And I want to thank the small group that we have tonight. We had a larger group planned, but on short notice, this meeting didn't work for some of them. I want to thank Andrew for getting us together and bringing this to council. And he had a wonderful report to us. We reviewed on Friday. Thursday? Thank you. So, yeah, my name is Al Carpenter. I didn't have a plan to speak. We wanted to listen to Andrew's report to council and go from there. If we could do that.
Sure we can.
Thank
We
you.
can. I've just got to one more time ask
I
the
would
public.
invite anyone else that wanted to have a word with you.
You know, it's like a wedding vow, forever hold your peace. Andrew, would you like to go through your report, please?
Sure, Madam Mayor, the key elements is that Mr. Carpenter and others have been in communication with staff over the last 18 months or so, raising concerns about the traveled speed along the Wrigley Road corridor. Primary focus was within the boundaries of the settlement area itself, but it wasn't limited exclusively to the settlement area. Wrigley Road is about 4.5 kilometers in length and runs from obviously Scott Street at the urban edge, east of urban edge of Air, through to where it terminates at Sprague's Road. It is a rural collective type road. It is a regional road by road jurisdiction. We did seek permission from the region to put one of our mobile counter signs on the road. We undertook traffic and speed counts for the period extending from December through to early April of 2026. And during that period of time, we observed that the 85th percentile, 85th percentile means that generally speaking, 85% of the vehicles that were tracked traveled a certain speed. In this case, it was actually 78 kilometers an hour, and our monitor was in the boundaries of the settlement area of Wrigley. So I don't have data east or west of the settlement, but within the settlement itself. Now, that is actually within the speed limit of Wrigley Road. For its entire length, the posted speed limit is 80 kilometers an hour. And what staff flagged is there are no streetlights. There is no means or methods to slow traffic down. In other words, there's no stop control, there's no roundabout, there's very limited intersecting streets. It is a fairly straight section of road until you approach Dumfries Road, and then we swing past the intersection at Dumfries through to intersect Sprague's Road, and that's a distance of about 650 meters. The road has no sidewalks, no bike lanes, and it's a continuous open road. And you have an intermix of residences, aggregate operations, agricultural land holdings, naturalized areas, and of course, rural residences. The majority of the rural residences obviously are situated within the settlement area of Wrigley. And there are a number of complaints that have been received about high speed, potential conflicts with the turning movements of vehicles trying to either access onto the regional road from their private driveways and or trying to make either right or left-hand turns to get into their driveway, and vehicles either passing at a high rate of speed, including passing on the shoulder. Concerns about pedestrian or cycling safety because there are no proper facilities or infrastructure to support walking or cycling. And the overall issue of broader public safety. The report identifies that while the 85th percentile shows that people were traveling the posted speed, the question really is the posted speed the appropriate speed, either within the settlement area of Wrigley and or the east and west approaches into Wrigley itself? And we identified that if we take regional roads and some of our other rural settlements, they're all 60 kilometers an hour if I'm looking at Clyde or Branston or Browns. Roseville is 50 kilometers an hour. So there has already been an adjustment, generally speaking, 20 kilometers an hour lower in those other rural settlements, which I would suggest by land use activity, and I'm thinking now specifically of the hamlet of Wrigley, are very, very similar. Ribbon-like development, both sides of the regional road, with private driveways accessing principally rural residences where there is no sidewalks and or cycling facilities and either no street lighting and or limited street lights. And largely the traffic using the corridor is not a point of origin within the settlement area. It's largely commuter traffic traveling along the corridor, going between other destinations. And so there's a lack of ownership, if I can use that, in terms of their neighborhood in which they're traveling through. So the report recommends that council petition the region, recognizing that this is a regional road, asking that the region undertake a speed study, but also a road safety study. And the reason we focused on the road safety study is because we're aware of other areas where there are conflicts of traffic that are outside the settlement area, but are part of that same road corridor. We've had a lot of near misses. We've had vehicles go off the road at the intersection of Dumfries Road and Wrigley Road. We've had vehicles go through the intersection of Sprague Roads into the wetland to the east of Wrigley Road. And it just shows lack of familiarity, speed, perhaps distracted driving, or a combination thereof. And we believe, similar to what we've undertaken on township roads like Greenfield Road, Factory Road, Kings Road, Cameron Road, that an appropriate safety study be undertaken, which takes into context the land use activity, the volume of traffic, the composition of that traffic. We have aggregate haulers, we have obviously motoring vehicles, we have farm equipment, all have different dynamics, but they're using the same road corridor, and that has to be better understood and factored. Topography, road profile are all factors that need to be properly assessed, and it would inform a better strategy as to how to mitigate some of these concerns and properly and comprehensively look at the corridor in its entirety, which should then also benefit the settlement area of Wrigley. So, Madam Mayor, that's the Coles notes of the report.
So, Sarah McNeely, before I open it up to the councilors, I would like a motion from this council to go to regional council because we were talking about staff. And the motion I'd like to involve in that is what you just said, the 401 corridor that's done Dumfries Road, trying to get onto Sprague's Road and get into that south area. Also, there's been a fatality on that road. The number of vehicles that have gone into or off the road because of speed. I would like this motion to be given to me to present at regional council.
So, Madam Mayor, the collision history is part of a speeds and road safety study. The recommendation from staff is that this council petition the region through an adopted resolution that would actually go to the regional council, so that regional council can assess it and provide direction to regional staff.
But it will also have the meat in it of the explanations as to why we're proceeding.
We have this report, we can put an executive summary together to provide context. But a speed study is an understood industry term. And it is fulsome in its analysis.
I want an executive study that I can read out to regional council because not all people read the agendas completely. So if I could have that to read at the meeting at the same time that this report is going forward, so that we're very, very clear on the dangers on this road and why our roads being treated different than any other road. And include the lighting. Thank you. Councilors, Councilor Walden.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. In the discussion tonight, we referred to this as the hamlet of Wrigley. But when you drive down that road, there's no signs saying Wrigley or Hamlet Wrigley. I'm wondering, is there a way that we can signal to drivers and signal to the region that this actually is a settlement, this actually is a hamlet? Why don't we have signs on either end of this built up area saying Hamlet of Wrigley or Wrigley? When you drive through places like Hayesville, they have signs that say, you know, our children live here, that kind of stuff. Why don't we have some kind of signage on here so that when you're driving, you realize this actually is a built up area? Because I think right now, if you come off of Sprague's Road and start going past Dumfries Road heading towards Air, you don't even really realize that this is a settlement area. If you had signs, that would be at least one step, and then ideally lower the speed limit in that area. But at least tell the region, this is a settlement area, this is signed as such, and it should be treated as a settlement area.
CEO McNeely, any comments? Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Councilor Jones.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So this is a question perhaps through you to staff. So we were able, because we owned the road, we were able to change Greenfield Road to 60 in a good, quick manner after we've done our appropriate studies. We don't have that same option for Wrigley Road. However, what does it take for us to request taking over Wrigley Road and being able to, because this is a problem that's like, how long? Like, we're not getting anywhere. Because for the region, this is just a side road and they have very big issues to deal with. And this is not as big a deal for them as it is for our residents here. So is there, what would it take to just take the road?
We've already asked several times. The region is not willing to give up any votes as of yet. So, it's not means we're done. We still are looking at trying to take over our roads, but, as of yet, sorry, yes, that's yeah, exactly. Any other questions, councilors? Councilor Austin.
Just one quick comment. Yeah, if I own the road, and I'd say, yeah, put it down to 60, you know, to me, it'd be a done deal. But we don't, so the best we can do is ask the region to go through that, but we also have to know that if the region agrees to drop it down to 60 and people are still doing 80, then residents need to call the region to get the police out there, not the township.
Any other questions or comments?
Yeah, I have a question.
Actually, we're done with the public ones, but I'm gonna let you, go ahead, because you guys have been so good on it.
What are the odds? What are the odds that the region is even gonna look at us? Because this has been going on for, well, since the 80s. That people are trying to get this speed limit reduced. What are the odds of them actually saying, yes, we'll make a study, we'll come out and look at it, do anything?
I don't want them to make their study, I want them to look at it, I want to get it done. I think that this time at the region, I may have a little bit of pull. Go ahead.
Mayor, through you to council and.
Yeah, I can come to the mic too.
My name is Andy McDonald, resident 1392 Wrigley Road. Looking at the Highway Traffic Act, it specifically states and identifies settlement areas as areas they identify as reducing speed limits. It then identifies that the authority having jurisdiction, which would be the region on this one, has the authority to determine what speed limit would be appropriate. I've asked the region, their staff specifically for their formulaic process to determine what the speed limit on that road should be, and they would not release any information. So I would be asking that you would ask that same question to the region as their formulaic process, because if they can't, then we have the ability then to ask them more specifically through courts as well, litigation processes, to either step up or step out of the way. So that's one concern. Second is when it comes to the traffic in specific, the study was completed from December to April of this year. I would ask that study maybe be looked at from now till the end of September. Highway speeds right now are increasing, especially with motorcycle being out. Their speeds are much higher, and with road being not winter, the weather being a factor, speeds do get higher. Another factor is dump trucks, or historically, when we had that pit that was filled, dump trucks were going over that road more than 80. And I can attest, because of my profession, being a firefighter in both North Dumfries and in Cambridge, speeds are a factor. And this is a settlement as defined talked about tonight. And there are lives at risk, and these are homes. Some of them are 30 feet away from the road, so you're aware. And it is dangerous. So thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Anyone else? Go ahead, sir.
Yes.
Did you hear me that time?
I did. Thank you. I'm afraid one day somebody's gonna get killed on that road.
It's already happened. Already happened.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
We, here tonight is,
Oh, there was a girl, there was two then. The girl that was running was not killed though,
no,
but there was a man killed.
Mallory's here tonight.
Hey, sorry, man. There was a man killed back in,
2008, down there.
yeah, around there, yeah.
It's right in front of our residence.
That's, yeah, yeah,
In front of 1412, I believe.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, he was walking with, it was a family event. He was walking along the road with his family on the non-paved area and was killed.
Just normal everyday activities, that has us out near the road edge, putting garbage out, maintaining our properties. And the vehicles are just screaming by. In the summer months, they're screaming and they don't scream so much in the winter. And we're not out there that much in the winter either. But in the season, when we're enjoying our properties, working them, boy, it's scary out there, you know, at 100 and 120. Muscle cars, commuters. Commuters are the worst in the morning and the evenings. And Gary, he's a new neighbor, an old neighbor, but a new neighbor now. And he was telling me he walks every morning at 7 o'clock and he sees the same truck, black truck, speeding at a high rate of speed. And as he comes up near Terry's on the side, he even speeds up more to show him what he can do.
Take a picture.
Pardon?
Send it to the police. Take a picture and send it to the police.
Well, I said to him, I'm gonna get out there this morning at 7 and I'm gonna witness this too. I was up early, I fell asleep and I didn't make the 7. But I have a dash cam on my truck.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna just sit out there tomorrow and see if I can get him. Would it help if we, the citizens, in interim, put out, children playing or slow down signs?
Do we still have those signs? We used to have those signs. Do we still have those signs?
Mayor, I don't know what's left in the inventory. We ordered about 400. I don't know what's left.
Can we find out if available, we can give them out to them?
Sure.
We
Thank you.
created some signs a few while
Thank
ago.
you.
Not only that, but if I get, my apologies, if I get a chance to speak at regional council, you guys can all come and delegate.
Thank you.
And the more voices, the better.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, today we wanted to get the feeling that our council supports our case.
Totally.
And thanks again to Andrew. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So can I have the motion, please? Nobody else? Going. Councilor Williams, please.
Sorry, can I?
Oh, Councilor Rosslin.
Thank you. One comment. And again, in that area, it's very similar to all over the township. I have no illusions that everyone's doing 78 kilometers an hour. I know that they're doing a lot faster than that, especially on that stretch of the highway. We've got that on Trustler. We have that, you can't do that so much Trustler on the way to Kitchener because there's just way too much traffic. You know, I drive it every day. I wouldn't even think about passing anyway. But when you get out in those areas, yeah, especially on and weekends too, not just commuter traffic, weekends too. You know, people are out joyriding and evenings and such. So there's no doubt that the traffic is way too quick out there. But you know, this is step one, and let's go from there. And then if we run into roadblocks, we find a way to try and get around it and
Keep working on bringing them back to the
keep going,
township.
yeah, sure.
How can we get appraised as to your momentum of going forward?
So,
Let us know. Anything's being
CEO
done.
McNeely, do you have a lot of their contact information because you were working with them? So CEO McNeely will let you know when it's going, CEO McNeely will let you know when it's going to regional council. And then as many of you as can speak, the better. And you and your example would be prime If you could come out and speak, that would be amazing. I can't get the dead man to speak, but if you could come up and speak, that would be great. Okay, thank you. So the motion, please, Council Williams.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Tilly, that CA report number 12-2026 be received and that council petition regional council requesting that a speed study and associated road safety matters be assessed for Wrigley Road, Regional Road 49, extending from Scott Street to Sprague's Road.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. Also, you'll have to sign up as a delegate to the region the night that I speak, so we'll have to give you that night as well. So, thank you. Okay, next is motion to go into closed council motion, please.
Moved by myself and by Councilor Tilly, that council move into closed meeting session at 7:45 PM pursuant to section 292 to discuss point number CEO 13/2026 pay equity wage compensation review for non-union personnel, labor relations or employee negotiation act 292.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. Cambridge is always close.
Oh, but we shouldn't be those.
No, we shouldn't be.
You show that to them. Yes, what the children.
Are we doing it?
Children.
Sure, they're almost all of them.
Actually, I buy them groceries.
So we're live, so I will unmute us, if you're ready.
Yeah.
Meeting into open.
Move by myself, second by Councillor Oster, that council reconvene into open session at 8:17 PM.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. Did you drink it?
You're only back to.
A review of the CAO report number 13-2026 was conducted. This report and the ensuing discussion was follow up to council's review of this matter at the February 23rd and March 23rd, 2026 council and camera meetings. The reports associated with the ongoing work in support of the pay equity / wage compensation study being completed for the non-union personnel of the township. Pace and Associates was retained by the township and has been assisting council and senior staff as to assess various models and options with respect to the wage compensation and the non-union personnel. This work commenced in November of 2025. Arising from the work that has unfolded since the commencement of the study in the fall of 2025 through to the present period, the work program is now at a decision point. To this end, council will now entertain a resolution. Resolution from Councilor Tudor, please.
Right off the presses.
Thank you.
Moved by myself, second by Councillor Osmer, that council implement a new wage structure and grid system for the non-union personnel will be effective July 1st, 2026. And that the treasurer will be authorized to fund an expenditure of $88,332 with the requisite dollars being drawn from the pay equity wages reserve account. And then council adopt the salary administration policy HR-010 for non-union personnel effective July 1st, 2026. And that the chief administrative officer coordinate the notification with each non-union staff member as to how outcomes from a pay equity wage compensation study as completed by Hest and Associates and the associated implementation date of July 1st, 2026 affects them on an individual basis.
All those in favor? Carrie, thank you. And next we have the bylaws, Council Williams, please.
Moved by myself, under by Councilor Tilly, that the following bylaws be read a first and second time. 17.1, bylaw number 3636-26, being a bylaw to provide temporary closure for a portion of English Street to accommodate Calvary Church Host Community Soapbox Derby. 17.2, bylaw number 3637-26, being bylaw to adopt the estimates of all sums required during the year at a fixed tax rates and provide for the levy and collection of municipal, region, and education taxes for the year 2026. 17.3, bylaw number 3638-26, being a bylaw to regulate the discharge of firearms within the township of Dumfries, subject to repeal bylaw number 783, And 17.4 bylaw number 3639 26, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council on April 27, 2026.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. And Council Tilly again. Silence. Second. Thirty.
Moved by myself, second by Council Roman, that bylaw numbers 3636 26, 3637 26, 3638 26, and 3639 26 be read a third and final time and signed and sealed by the mayor and clerk.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. And Council Osney, the adjournment.
Moved by myself, second by Council Roll, that whereas business before this council meeting has ended at 8:21 p.m. And be it resolved that this meeting adjourned.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you.
I give it 4 seconds.